There we go. There we go. There we go. What's up? What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday night, and it is time for another episode of Hits and Heels. Of course, I have a great guest every week, and of course, tonight I have Miss Tonia Witt, who is the owner, founder of
Rise Up Sports.
Rise Up Sports. I just got a brain fart just that quick. Of Rise Up Sports. So she takes a lot of the pictures for like UK basketball and around the area. And one of the things, Tanya, that I don't do on my page is I don't talk about a lot of political stuff, but I'm gonna bring up something right now. But for those of you that don't know, my name is Coach Terry Bryant. I live here in Lexington, Kentucky. My son plays for the University of Kentucky. My husband played for the University of Kentucky, and I'm actually a football coach, which is where we got the Hits and Heels name from. My husband and I both coach middle school football here in Lexington, and I was coaching a women's tackle football, but my schedule just got too busy, and I couldn't I can't no longer go back and forth to Louisville after I leave track practice again. So it was just too much. So now I'm on the admin side of that with helping them with the grow the brand and the fan base. And so today it's so fitting that I have Tanya on here because one of the conversations that Tanya and I have had was talking about building up women's sports. And so everybody knows that some idiot TJ Moe or something like that did a tweet about a week ago, and three ladies were commentating a football game on national TV, and he makes the comment, "Nobody wants to see three women talking about football." Tanya, when are we gonna get past this?
I think people just have that mindset that um, if you haven't played it, then you don't know it. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case because I think there are a whole lot of people on the men's side, if we go digging, that haven't played it, but they know it,
but
and
they
it's
know it.
okay.
Yeah,
Um,
but they know it, and they didn't play it, or they didn't play it at an elite level. So I mean, you know what I compared it to a male OBGYN doctor. You mean to tell me you can be an OBGYN but you ain't never had a baby and never can have a baby, but you're an expert at having a baby or delivering a baby, or you're expert at teaching women how to have babies, right? And that's the world we live in. It's always going to be a double standard when it comes to um, women in all areas, all corporate America, but especially in sports. And of course I'm in the worst space. I'm in that same space. I'm in the football space. I didn't I would have loved to play. I would love to play right now. If I had hardware in my left knee, I would be playing football right now at 54 years old.
yeah,
And they're like, "You're crazy. You're crazy." No, because I'm in shape. I'm probably in better shape than probably most 25 and 30-year-old girls or women. And the center on my team is 51, and she's still killing it. And I have a tight end that's 46. My outside linebacker is 42. I can still get it in if I had hardware in my knee. I just didn't get the opportunity because of situations like football. You just don't get the opportunity to play. So let's go into you. What made you start Rise Up Media?
well, COVID actually. Um, so during COVID, everything shuts down. You just kind of like landlocked. Gives you a lot of time to think, a lot of time to put a lot of things in perspective. Um, scavenging social media a lot, looking online at a lot of things, and just realized that there wasn't a whole lot of content and media especially locally and, in the state of Kentucky that really focus on women and female athletes in the state of Kentucky. And it's just a narrative that I said, okay, if there's going to be a change, why doesn't it be me that makes that change? And so just kind of stepped out in faith and hoped that things would, start rolling in the same direction. And very blessed, to say the least. That was, we really kind of got things kicking off end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And if you ask me if we would be where we are today, there is no way. Like, we are so far ahead of the curve, in my opinion. And the momentum is just really, really strong right now. So super excited about that.
So do you have a staff?
I have a staff of 2.
Good thing.
So it's myself and then Alex White that lives in Louisville. She is really just my right hand. Brought her on about a year ago, kind of at a part-time position. She really does full-time work at a part-time pay, just because that's kind of where we are. But her passion is just right up there with mine. Her expertise is on the basketball side of things. That's really kind of where mine is too. But we try to give athletes across the state and other sports, their exposure and their flowers too. Not as versed in a lot of those other sports, but, can still give them coverage and, exposure. And so there are 2 of us. We have a couple other people that kind of do some freelance for us on some different things. We've got a freelance person that's taking care of the 20 teams that participated in our panorama that we had at 2 locations several weeks back. And so he's really taken the lead on those 20 teams and communicating with those coaches and getting stats and things out for all those players on those teams. So, I mean, it's a team effort. We're small, but I said we're small, but we're mighty. So,
So have you made this a full time?
Have I made this full time? I
Full
have
time
about
gig?
I have about 3 full-time gigs, so I'm not sure
Okay.
how that works. So, I actually, I shoot real estate photography during the day,
Okay.
and then I shoot sports stuff in the evening and, rise up. It's a balance and a fine line. One of the great things is I control my own schedule. Um, so I can make gaps in there when I need to. And so that's been nice. I worked in the school system for 20 years as a middle school social worker.
Mhm.
And then I was 5 years Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Bluegrass regional program manager there until COVID kind of hit, had some family emergencies and things, and kind of took a retirement from that, and kind of went into photography and stuff. And, here we are. So
What is the funnest part of it?
Um, you know, I, everybody always used to ask me in the school system too, what do you like about that? And I think I like the unpredictability. No day is ever the same. You know, Kids perform differently every day at different levels. Kids that have struggled in their sport quickly turn that around and become successful. And so it's great to see that and see kids find success in what they love. And so just being a small part of that, but just the unpredictability that every day is different. You never know what you're gonna run into or walk into, but just be prepared for it all.
So have you been able to go to tournaments and stuff outside of the state?
Yeah,
And have you been
so
able to compare the competition?
So we've had we started AAU program a couple of years ago. We just had one team that participated. We've actually combined with another program in the state that are very like-minded as far as we are with basketball. So we'll have a few teams, and so being able to cover those and travel, you see kids from everywhere. From all 50 states, from countries. Several countries were at Run for the Roses last year. And so we got to,
Ooh,
cover
that was a
those
big
kids.
tournament.
Yeah, it's huge. If you've never been, it's 80 courts of just basketball. Like, it's just to hear whistles on all 80 courts
Yeah.
at one time is crazy. But just I mean, the level of competition with girls basketball, especially right now, is just it is so high and it is so competitive. Kids don't back down from anything. I mean, they just play their guts out. And so, that's been good to see because I played back in the day when it wasn't quite as competitive and you looked in the stands and there were, 15 people in the stands and it was your mom and dad.
Right.
And so it's been really good to kind of see that transformation and, just that sport taking off and, all of those athletes that come before. That's one of my big things that, we're where we are now because of the groundwork and the foundation that was laid before. And we can't ever forget those ladies, that have come before and sacrificed all those things so that kids can be where they are today and have the opportunities that they have.
I I don't remember. I remember doing AAU track back in the day, but I don't remember AAU basketball. I think there was a boys team, but I don't think there was a girls team. And if I had any sense, I should have joined the boys team just to be able to get that competition. But I don't remember having in my area because I grew up in Kansas, and just the opportunities that kids have today. Like we didn't have hoop dreams, and we have several, maybe 3 or 4 different basketball developmental companies here. And I wish I had that. I wish I had someone that I can go and get that one-on-one training with, to hone my skills. And I think that if parents aren't investing, you know what? If parents aren't invested in their kids in these days with NIL now, you are freaking crazy. You would be crazy to not try to set your child up for the best level of success. Um, $7 million. I mean, did you see that?
Yeah, the kid from BYU. That is
Yeah.
crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Where do you feel that that's going? I think it's out of control. But
It,
what are your feelings on the whole NIL?
obviously, I think kids need to be compensated because they are bringing in, a lot of money for these universities. And, if they weren't on the field, these universities wouldn't have the revenue that they have. So they clearly need to be compensated for their participation and putting their bodies through the rigor that it takes at the college level, week in and week out. I really think that there need to be some caps and some mandates, on some things. And don't ask me what that looks like because I don't know. But and I don't think anybody knows, or we would be there. But I think there need to be some levels. I mean, if you look at professional sports, I mean, they have a salary cap, and they have all of these other things tied to finance and money. And so, you know, um, college sports are becoming less and less amateurism, and we're paying them, and they are pros at their level. And so, I think there's got to be some stipulations and some mandates there, because it's just going to continue to get out of control. I mean, $7 million for a kid that's never stepped on a college basketball floor
Is
is a little crazy to me.
That's a little crazy to me too. And I think, of course, with my son playing at the University of Kentucky, I know we've had some players that were in the portal that came here, and I know for a fact that they paid them, and they paid them handsomely, and they didn't pan out. And so I'm like, okay, so what are y'all doing, and what are you looking at? And I had Sean Woods on here, and we talked about it. And of course, I brought up, well, can't you do it in incentives? And he broke it down why you can't do incentives, especially in for basketball, because if a player is getting paid for his production, well, he's never going to pass the ball. He's going to be jacking it up every time trying to get his points. And I was like, well, yeah, but what about in football? And so how do you do that in football? Because you can't do that. But in basketball, that would be very difficult to throw incentives in there, because again, give me the ball because I got to make my money. And I do think that they deserve, but I think they deserve it on the back end of it. like
Mm,
not upfront.
yeah.
I think you need to earn it. I
And
think
and uphold your commitment.
yes, and uphold your commitment. I think it needs to be, if I'm paying you $7 million, you better be here for 4 years.
Yeah.
That better be part of the commitment. That okay, if I pay you $7 million, you're gonna be here the full 4 years. I don't want no one and done crap. I don't want none of that. And so it would have to be someone like that. I don't know how they're gonna do it. They've opened a Pandora's box, and they done stepped all in it, and you can't. Their boots aren't high enough. That's all I know.
I
Is you
said
can't.
it's almost like, officials that kind of let a game get away at the beginning of the game, and you
And now
can't
you want to start blowing the whistle in the second
yeah,
half,
you
and you
can't ever
can't
get it
do that.
back.
Yeah, you can't get it back, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what has happened with NIL. I absolutely love the opportunity of being able to give my son an opportunity to make as much money as possible, and if he can just live his dreams and not have to punch a clock, I would be very very happy for him with that. Of course, we'll set him up with the financial advisors and that type of stuff to be um, responsible with that type of money, because I mean I've never dealt with $7 million. If
Yeah.
we was to get into so we would have to definitely put him in position to do that. So to the responsibility part of it, we had a conversation today about it's just a business. Now people got to take. I mean, I think I need to create a business course for parents on how that athletics is a business, and how that pans out. What does that look like? It's starting with your social media and your EIN, and you might have to create a logo, and you might have to get some stuff trademarked, and that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. But that's the reality that we're living in. If you have a child that ends up being good enough to get a $7 million contract, that's the reality. You've got to get those business systems in place for these kids, and I heard a conversation today. I can't wait to see somebody show up getting handcuffed because they haven't paid these taxes on this NIL money, because that's a reality too. I mean, I hope that they're not just spending the money, and that somebody is helping them to put money aside so that they can pay to make sure they're paying the taxes on this money, because I think it's like a 1099, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like it's
You're
like
you're
any
you're like a
other income.
1099 employee. Yeah. I mean, not an employee, but a contractor, or so that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a
So
lot.
let's go back to what you talked about as far as just the opportunity for girls. Where are we now?
I mean, I think we are closing the gap. I think we have still a long way to go. I mean, when you look at things um, as a whole, there are a lot more opportunities out there, but are those equal opportunities? I think a lot of times that we forget that an opportunity doesn't mean equal. So if they say that, we're doing this and this, but really does that equate to what the other side looks like? So I think we have a long way to go as far as that. I mean, the opportunities are there, but the equality part still, there's a large gap in that equality. And one of the things every time I go into and I'll throw them under the bus. Barnes and Noble, for example. I always browse the magazine rack, and not one time that I've been in there has there been a female sports magazine on that rack. And so a few years ago, I was like, you
There's
know
no
what?
Wait a minute. There's no female sports magazine.
No. So a few years ago, I said, all right, guess what? So
You're
there's
gonna do
not
one.
one, still we're going to create one.
Let's
And
go.
so we started Rise Up Sports Magazine. Really just wanted to highlight, athletes tell their stories. I'm a big storyteller person. I think athlete stories need to be told, need to be shared, need to be documented.
That's why I started my
Um,
podcast.
So we started this magazine, and it's a legit magazine. Like it is high
So
quality content.
I can go to Barnes and Noble right now and get it.
No, you can't get it because they won't put it on the rack. I've tried. I've contacted Barnes and Noble and Joseph Beth, and it's not on the rack, but it's on my website.
Okay.
And we offer all of them digital, like you can view them free of charge digitally.
Oh, yeah.
So that was another one of our
Yeah, I
things.
have the digital version, but I wanted a hard copy, but I thought I could go someplace and buy it. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you can, so
So,
you can go online and purchase those. And um it's a high quality magazine. One of the other things that, a lot of these places, they put things behind the paywall. You're just, if you're going to create something, it doesn't always have to cost somebody something.
mm,
And so that was one of our big things too, is, we will offer our digital content free of charge. We don't put it behind a paywall. Like, we're creating it. Why are we going to keep it from you? Like, we're spending our time and our energy to create this content, to get exposure for female athletes and women. And I was like, Alex and I talked. I was like, we're not putting it behind a paywall. Um, it's going to be out there. Anybody that wants to see it or read it, they can see it, they can read it. If they want to buy a copy, hard copy, they can buy a hard copy. But we have a blog that's on our website that is full of content. It's not behind a paywall either. You
mm,
can go there and you can read everything that we have. And that's part of it, is just getting that content out there for people to see. Like, if you're protecting it, then you're providing coverage for women
mm-hmm,
in sports, but you're not giving them the exposure,
mm-hmm.
because you're just hoarding that content.
Right.
And so everything that we have is out there. We try to tell stories of female athletes. We've broadened our landscape. We've kind of grown to the edges of Kentucky, from Pikeville to Paducah.
Okay.
From northern Kentucky to the southern border, and we started spilling over into some of those surrounding states. So that's been really nice. We've got some Rise Up ambassadors that are across the U.S. We've got one that's in California. We've got kids that are in Florida, New York, Minnesota. And so, it's really just that trickle effect. And we wanted everything to happen organically.
Mm-hmm,
That was really important for us to not grow too fast, which we've grown quickly. But, not to overpour the cup so much that we couldn't maintain what we had. So
mm-hmm,
I feel like we're in a good place. We started our sportswear line a little less than a year ago. And so now our focus is to really get that out there so that we can continue to supply things to students and parents and, individuals free of charge.
Oh, tell me more about the
So we have this
sports line.
women's
Women's
sports.
sports line. I
That's our that's our
love
big tagline.
it.
We do have some NIL athletes that we work with. Cassidy Rowe, that plays at the University of
Yeah.
Kentucky. I've known Cass for a long time, and so she was our very first NIL athlete. So that was super exciting. We've got a kid that plays at Troy University, plays softball. That's a local kid from here. Great kid. We've got a kid that plays basketball at Pitt, that has an NIL deal. We've got a swimmer at the University of Kentucky that we just signed to an NIL deal. So we have a few kids. It's not something that we're paying them $7 million.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
no, it's just something small. They've bought into, what we're trying to do, and they just want to kind of help, share our mission and things that we're doing. So it's really more of a partnership. It's not something that's going to fill their pockets financially, but really just kind of share the same mission. And so we've got a lot of that NIL stuff on our website, and a lot of our product is just um, slogans that are female women empowerment.
Mm-hmm,
That they can wear to say, like, this is our brand. This is a female brand. It doesn't have anything to do with any male sports team or anything like that, but it's directly female related. And we've asked a lot of kids, give us inputs. What are slogans that you say? What are things that that you like. And so we try to tie a lot of those things in. And so, it's just, that's, that's a very slow grow. I've come to realize that the sportswear industry is very slow to
Mm,
grow. It's starting to pick up, but we do everything online, so it's just really getting the word out there for that. But just being able to market that and give people something to wear to say, I wear this. I usually wear something like this when I'm sitting on an end line at the UK women's basketball game,
yeah.
and they're like, "Why are you always
Where'd you
wearing
get
this
this?
stuff?" I'm like,
Why
because
would you not? Because
I'm
it's my
like, well, because
brand.
it's free advertising. Because
Yes.
you know, and a lot of the players see it and they're like, "Oh, I like that hoodie." Coach Brooks the other day, he's like, "Oh, I really like that T-shirt," and
Hmm.
so it's just people taking notice.
Yeah.
One person takes notice and says it to somebody else, you get that trickle down effect, and so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then go ahead and gift Coach Brooks one,
Oh,
and
I
he
did.
wears it. Yeah. And then now he could wear it,
Yeah.
and that's free advertising. He's doing a great job. So right now um he's got a lot of fans. I'm a fan. I ran into him at it was the first football game when it got when it was thunderstorming and it
Oh,
got
yeah.
delayed and it didn't start till like 10. I
That
ran
was a
into
long
him.
day. I was there
Yeah,
that
it
day.
was a long day.
That was a long
So
day.
I ran into him then. I was like, "Oh my god!" And I introduced myself, and I was telling him. He said, "I heard your story before." Apparently, he heard my story when I was on the Alan Cutler show, and he said he had listened in on that particular episode of Alan Cutler, and he had heard my story. So that was pretty cool. And I'm excited. I was really. I'm not gonna lie and not say that I was really disappointed that um, Coach Elsie didn't get the same opportunities that most male coaches. So I felt like they should have gave her a little bit more time, even though she had been there for a while. But it's hard. I felt like she kind of got thrown into the head coaching position,
Yes.
and so you didn't have that time where, where you're sitting and be like, oh, I think I'm ready to be a head coach. And that's a different mindset. But when you get thrown into it, maybe before you were ready, that's totally different. And I think that people that haven't been in that position will never understand that. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't. I had to get off of social media, um, because it's just the haters, the couch coaches,
Oh, yeah.
the people that again, people are mad at women because they never played the game, but all these guys that never played, or they probably only played pee-wee football and never played on the next level, have all the answers, and they know more than what anybody else do, and so it's so hard for me not to ask people to drop their resume. I said, because I bet your resume probably isn't better than mine.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes, for
You
sure,
probably
for
don't
sure.
know as much as I know. Right. And so and I want to do that badly sometimes. But I was really disappointed that Kyra got fired when she did. People don't know how hard it is in this day and
No.
age. The level of the generation of kids is different. So what I what I this is what I know, and this is just my perspective with Kyra Elsie was, who did she get coached by? She got coached by the Bobby Knight of female football,
Yes.
of female basketball,
Yeah.
and she did not play, and that worked in that era. And I'm sure it would be hard because I'm still that way. It is so hard to pull that back and not have that level of expectation, not have that level of discipline and accountability. And kids these days can't handle that.
Oh, yeah.
And now with it so easy to jump in a portal, if you hurt anybody's feelings, they're in the portal.
Yeah.
And so now
It's the thing is, it's a business. Like,
it's the business.
this. Sports
It's
is
the
a
business.
business.
It's the
I
business.
really I really hated to see her go. Like you said, she got kind of thrust in that position like right before the season started, and then she had COVID and then the start of NIL and
Yeah,
the start of the transfer. Like
that's a
during
lot.
her tenure, like something happened
There
every
was
single year.
so much drama going on during her tenure that you had to navigate through this. And then you're navigating it through this change, like you said, with the portal and NIL. And you're like, what is this? Because when I played, we didn't have none of this. So most of it, you're just going because you have the experience. But nowadays, coaches can't even be like, well, you can't even go by your experience anymore because what's going on now was not happening
Yeah.
back then. And that is where I felt like people need to have grace on these coaches because it is so different now. It's not even funny because again, you're I mean, that's why Nick Saban stepped down. That's why I think Coach K finally stepped down. I think that's because they're like, I can't handle all of this. It's
It's a
just
lot. It's a lot. But I mean, she's very successful.
oh yeah,
I'm
I love her. I
I'm
love
super
what she
happy that,
yes. And I'm definitely thankful that she still had the opportunity to still coach and do something that she enjoys doing.
I gave her
But
a hard time. I said, right color, wrong letters.
bro, I know of all teams,
Of
cute.
all teams.
Yes. Oh my God. But I'm happy for her, and
Yeah.
and I'm so thankful that she got that. And I love Kara Lawson, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Um, and I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing for women's basketball.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody in that space, I'm just happy for them and excited. But I'm excited for what when Coach Brooks got listed. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that
You know,
press conference, I walked into that press conference and I'm like, oh, it's not been like this.
you're right. Right.
You
And when I
you
mean,
had a full
again,
house and
yeah.
it's
And
been
I get that
nice.
people are ready for a change. I mean, even with UK basketball, you know, everybody keeps trying to compare getting rid of Coach Stoops with getting rid of Coach Cal. And I don't bash coaches or anything like that, but I just feel like there's just no comparison. There's no way you can compare. I don't think Coach Stoops has ever had a top 10, let alone number one recruiting class every year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something totally different. I mean, when you look at, even right now, Kentucky holds the most roster spots for NBA players in the whole league. I think it's like 30. And they're all Cowboys. And so, when you're looking at the teams that he had, yeah, they should win. They should win. So I get it. I don't get it, but I get it. I get it. I didn't understand them giving him a lifetime contract. With again, sometimes even with the NIL, sometimes you got to prove yourself. I don't. When it comes to Coach Stoops, I have no idea how this man is not jumping off the blue building because it is so much. Because I think basketball is a little bit easier to gauge talent going
Well,
to the
you have
next level,
a smaller roster too.
and you have a smaller
So
roster, and you can gauge the talent a little bit better because most of the time, um, especially if you're getting All-Americans and you're going to the All-American game and they're playing against other All-Americans. So you kind of get to kind of see if they can really, really play based off of the talent that they're going against. But football is a totally different beast. It's hard to see if that level of talent will translate into the next level, especially if you're coming into the SEC.
oh yeah, for sure.
Um, and that's difficult. And so one of the conversations even that I had even recently, even with Ty, and when the top 12 came out, so everybody was mad that Alabama didn't get in. But I'm like, they had 5 cookie cutter games. and then you lost 3 games that you probably should have won or you were supposed to win. No, you don't. And I'm an Alabama fan. I'm born in Alabama, so I'm like, no, no, you don't. 5. So you were talking about 5. So you're talking about 8 games, and you're only basing your game off of the couple of games that they won. No. Uh-uh. But I argued with someone else about. I said, this is how competitive the SEC is. I said, my son is at Kentucky. I've watched every game. I said, we're ended up on the bottom of the SEC. And I'm telling everybody right now, you can go back and watch the tape. We should have beat Texas. We should have beat Tennessee. And we should have beat Georgia. The 3 SEC teams that are in the top 12 right now, yeah. Kentucky should have beat them. Right? And that just puts things in a different perspective because you're talking about the bottom of the SEC teams were good enough to beat them. We're only maybe 3 or 4 play calls. You know, we get calls in our favor. That turnover that should have been a turnover that got overturned in the Georgia game.
I was mad about that one.
Oh yeah, I was mad about that because that was ball game. That would have shifted the whole momentum to us, and it did it. You could just tell in the stadium that it just totally just shifted the momentum even more so to our favor because we had the momentum. In the Tennessee game, you know, we're a couple of, penalties away from that being a winnable game. You know, in the Texas game, we're at the Texas game again. We're a couple. They turned the ball over 6 times. In Texas turned the ball over 6 times. And how do you not win a game when you don't turn the ball over? Now, do I think our offense was suspect? Absolutely. But those was even with that, those were still winnable games for cut. And so when you win those games, now you beat Louisville, you beat Auburn, you beat Vandy, you win those games because now you have that momentum and you have the confidence level. It changes everything when you win those type of games. I mean, I don't know what happened after we beat Ole Miss, and then we come after that, and then I think we went on a 3-game losing streak after that. I have no idea what happened. But we should have carried that momentum into the next couple of games because we beat Ole Miss after we should have beat Texas. And I just don't understand why there wasn't no buy-in to. I don't know. That's what I'm talking about, where it's just very difficult to navigate football in the SEC with the transfer portal. Oh my God, did you see the kid from South Carolina that got $1.5 million?
Yes.
Did you see the kid from Florida that said, I want this much, I want to, I forgot what he said, how much money it was. And he said that he wanted to be in on every 3rd down. I mean, he like literally gave like a list of demands.
That's like Bill Belichick's Bible that he gave North Carolina before they hired him.
Is that what he did?
Well, like he gave them like a whole like list of like this is what I want.
This is what I want. Oh yeah.
This is what I want. This is what has to happen. This. I mean, like a massive list of things.
But he's Bill Belichick.
Yeah. And he's also what, 70?
But he's also 70 years old or 70, but maybe he'll just use his, his girlfriend to help him to keep up with the kids. Or I don't know. Right. But I think I talked about that with someone else too, because if you're older coach like us at my age, at Coach Duke's age, you still have an old school mentality. And sometimes it's hard to get kids to relate to you or for you to relate to the kids in this new era because they don't know what it's like back in the day. They don't know what it's like to struggle. They don't know what it's like to not have a phone. They don't know what it's like not to have the internet, whereas we do. We didn't have all that going in. And if you're a younger coach coming in. You can relate to the kids, but then you don't have the experience. So how do you balance that as a coach? And it happens in women's sports as well. Why? Okay. Why are more male coaches coaching women's sports?
It's a good question. I think because it's always been that way. Um, Sometimes people don't like change. My philosophy is just because you've always done it doesn't mean you always have to do it. And there's got to be that shift, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit. But just like in football, like they give, they have to interview certain number of people for every job of, different race, different whatever. They don't do that in other sports, in basketball, and those kinds of things. And I think until women start demanding, I think they have to demand. Again, we're closing the gap, but the equality is not there. And I think a lot of times, a lot of those entities are in the mindset, this is the way we've always done it, so this is the way we're going to do it. And there hasn't been that total shift yet. So and again, back to Kyra, she was on a very short leash, and
yes,
and some of these coaches, Teresa Witherspoon. So it's
1 year.
Yeah, like I mean,
like what
you had injuries, like
you had major injuries.
Yeah,
the whole season.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a full. You don't even give her an opportunity. I can see if she had her full roster and everybody was 100% the whole season.
And your draft pick
gets injured at the end of the season.
Well, and your draft pick loved her.
Yeah.
So you don't want to keep your draft pick happy. So you just, it doesn't make sense.
So it doesn't.
Again, so what did they hire? They hired a male.
They hired a man. Matter of fact, I think most of the new coaches came in are men.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Again, but then who's in the front office? Who's up at the top? Who are the owners?
Yeah. So, they don't give the female coaches as much leeway as they do the men. For whatever reason. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. They just see that, they've had a season or two and they've not been successful, and they don't take into, account that half of your roster was injured for a majority of the year, or, you're starting to gain these draft picks, but let's just uproot it right in the middle.
And you're establishing a relationship with them.
Yeah. You're supposedly in the rebuilding process, but
you're in the rebuilding process, but you don't get an opportunity to rebuild.
Yeah.
Help me make that make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. The coach at Marshall wins the Sun Belt League, and Marshall doesn't renew his contract.
Yeah.
What? He wasn't getting ready. What was their record? Is he mad because they're not in the top 12? So nowadays, if you're not in the top 12, you're in football, you're gonna be at risk of losing your job every year.
Because you're considered not successful.
Because you're considered not successful by not being in the top 12.
But if you weren't in the top 4 and you went to a bowl, you were successful.
Yes.
So make that make sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we're not making all the big decisions.
So we're not making all. Yeah. I don't understand it. How do we fix it? How do we build up girls sport? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm in the process of figuring out. I want to bring girls flag as a sanctioned sport to Kentucky. But before I can do that, I'm going to have to do a couple of camps just to kind of gauge the the interest and and then kind of course I got to ease it in. I can't just come in and bam and because it's new, and then I don't know when we're going to play. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's a huge growing sport across the U.S.
It's the
Um,
fastest growing sport right now.
yeah, that and volleyball are both super fast growing sports, and I think it gives girls, another opportunity. I always said that flag football kind of gets your kids that aren't quite as athletic enough for this sport or this sport, but they can hone in a position and be successful with football.
With
Because not all positions in football you have to be super fast. Um,
absolutely,
there are some positions in football that you have to be super athletic. And I
absolutely.
think it gets a good mixture of kids across the board, and they all kind of have to work together. Um, you know, Basketball, you got to have kids that are athletic. Um, you know,
All of them.
all of them. But football
But in
necessarily, like,
football, not necessarily.
no, depends
There
on your
are
position and your skill.
105 positions, 105 positions on a football team. Different areas, 105 different areas where you could be on the field. You know, you got, you just might be a special team specialist. You just might,
Yeah.
um,
I
there's
always
nothing
said,
wrong with
those
that.
kids that love soccer but aren't super fast and, just don't have that stamina, you know, a kicker on a football team is a
A
great place
kicker,
for them to fit in. And so
absolutely.
I love flag football just because I think I think you get more buy-in from a lot of different girls that feel like they don't fit someplace else.
Yes, right.
And
And
it's not and football is not it's not your stereotypical sport. Like, you have all kinds of kids that are on a football team. And again, they all have to work together and they all have value. Um, you know, Track athletes that run the 100, like, you all got to be fast.
you got to
Kids
be
that
fast, and if you're not the top,
yeah,
and track, you can't fake it.
no.
You either fast or you're not fast. And if you're not falling in a range where you can compete with everybody in the nation, what are you why are you just run why are you running?
Yeah.
You gotta find something else.
But no, flag football, and it's exciting. If people have not watched flag football, they need to go on YouTube and watch some, because I mean it's an exciting, fast paced sport.
I'm glad that of course a lot of the like California and Georgia and Texas and I think Florida, they all have made girls flag a sanctioned sport. Of course, Kentucky's going to be one of the last ones. Why are we always the last to do stuff?
Because we want everybody else to do it first, and you know,
That's why. Okay.
we- yeah, we're never the front runner in those
We're never
things.
the front runner or
We just
anything.
want to follow everybody else's footsteps instead of just setting the pace, I think.
Um,
Do you think
and I
those
think
other do you think those other states, sports specific, do that because of weather and when they
yes,
can play that
yes,
sport
yes. I
within
think that also plays a
within
part.
other seasons of other sports to kind of often wonder that.
I think that plays a part too.
Yeah.
Because if we like up here, if you're building a new high school and not building an indoor facility, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like I don't understand why the number one of the biggest or even as a district. So like you guys are in Montgomery County, there should be a district indoor facility that everybody could use.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all in Montgomery County, y'all can do it.
You
Y'all
know,
like
we
sports.
we
Y'all
only
like
have one we only have one middle school and one high school.
I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. So you could have one facility for the middle school and high school for the different sports, and everybody is able you know, to get it in. Somebody needs to start doing it. Montgomery County can be the the front runner on
No,
that. Again,
we
a front
really will
runner.
be the last one.
Yeah.
We'll really be at the
We
bottom
could
of
be
the
the
barrel.
front runner of creating indoor facilities, or um, again, if I had a son that was able to get a $7 million contract, that's what I would want him to do, is to give back to the community and build an indoor
Yep.
facility so that we can host flag football tournaments indoors all year round. That's what I would
You
want to
tell
do.
Ty I'm waiting on that. I expect it.
So, but I just thought of that. That would just be the bomb. Like I'm dead serious on that. I might have to say something to him about that.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to get to the league so that we can make this
We can
happen.
do that.
Yeah.
Get to the league so we can fulfill my mama's dream.
Right.
No,
So,
I love flag football. It's a great alternative. For girls, even younger kids, to play flag football. I don't know that I'd necessarily want my kid to at his size to play tackle football. We played for a year. Um, as a parent, sometimes when they're not ready for that, it's scary. But he could be super successful at flag football. Um, you know, so I just think it affords a lot of opportunities for kids that don't play other things. I'm an advocate for kids playing sports, because if you're playing sports, you don't have time to get in trouble.
it's the level, it's the confidence that you build and the skills that you learn that take you as an adult.
Well, I read something today that most employees that were in the military or athletes are better employees on a whole than others, because they have learned teamwork and self-discipline, and that's not to say that other people by any means are not good employees.
I say that all the time. Number one, I'm a military brat, so I grew up as a military brat, and then I was an athlete, and in every job that I've been on, my worst supervisors were ones that did not play a sport. You can tell, like there's a disconnect.
I can't even remember where I read that today.
There's a disconnect with everything, just doesn't click. And and you're right, it's the same thing with coworkers. My coworkers that didn't play a sport, don't even like sports, are the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
They don't know how to work as a team. They don't have no common sense. They don't have no problem solving skills. They lack. Oh, they're so frustrating. They're frustrating. And you're like, what is wrong with you? And then when you get to know, you're like, oh, you didn't play a sport. And then you really just see the skills that translate into life skills when you become an adult, because you lack a lot of that when you don't play a sport. So what do you see women's roles in, how do you feel that women's role in leadership were evolving in sports, as far as sports is related? We've got a couple of women that are now in the front office that are general managers. I think we finally got somebody was in the MLB and some of the other sports. It's a shame that we still getting first in 2025, that we're getting our first women in some of these roles, and we're almost in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, it's that mindset that it's always been done this way, and so we're just going to keep doing it this way. And a lot of people don't have, that openness to try change, and they don't want to be the one if, not all women are going to be successful in the front office. They don't want to be that one to say, okay, we hired a woman in the front office and it didn't work. But at the same time, you can hire a man in the front office, and if it doesn't work,
it doesn't work.
We just hire somebody else. It's
Yeah.
not front page, newsworthy at that point in time. And, I think a lot of people are just afraid to take that risk because, they don't want to be pinned as the one that made a mistake.
Do they not want to take the risk, or they just don't want us taking over?
Well, maybe that too. They don't want to be proven wrong by, a female in authority. I
I
think
was at
I
work
think
the other day, and the maintenance guy was trying to figure out something, and I was like, you need to do this. And he totally ignored me. And then he fiddled with it for probably another 5 minutes. And then he finally did what I said to do. And then he looks at me, he was like, yeah, I just should have listened to you the first time. And I just shrugged him off. But it happens all the time.
yeah.
Um, I mean, even when I'm coaching football, um, they don't listen. And it's okay because I get it. That level of, even when I was coaching the women's team, there was a level, because I didn't play, there was a level of, we don't trust her. What does
Yeah.
she know? There was a no level of respect.
And I think
That's
that's the
not,
key, the
yeah,
trust.
and trust, because they don't trust. But how am I supposed to, if you don't give me the opportunity to show you what I know, how are you supposed to gain the trust if you
That's
never
kind of
give me
like
the opportunity?
that's kind of like kids out of college, that apply for jobs that you've got to have
You want us
experience.
to
Like
have
how do you
experience,
how
but
do you
how do
get
I
it?
gain experience if I don't have the degree? But you want me to have the degree, but I don't have the
Yeah.
experience. Like, how are they supposed to navigate through that?
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle. And at some point it's got to be broken.
How, and how do we break it?
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
still
know.
trying to figure that out. I'm
I
working
don't.
on it.
I don't know. I don't know how we break it. Besides doing what you did and getting our own stuff. That's what I liked about the women's team getting their own, um the women's football league getting their own league. Again, my goal was to be able to see women coaches with women officials and women assistant coaches with women playing against each other, and that was my that I still hope that's something that I'll be able to see in my lifetime. Instead of just, again, all male coaches. Again, nothing wrong with them, but I just feel like, why can't, you know y'all won't let us coach with y'all, but it's okay for the men to come and coach the women. But but I've only seen, we can count on one hand how many women are coaching in the male dominated sports.
Yeah.
So what advice would you tell a girl in this day and age if they want to participate in a male dominated field like that, whether it's sports or anything else?
I mean, I think you just have to be true to yourself. Um, First and foremost, if that's something that you want, then um, don't take no for an answer. Um, I mean, people are going to tell you no, but push through that. Um, Depend on your own knowledge, your own skills, um, and you can be successful in anything that you want. I mean, I think that we've seen that through time that, you know, in very small doses. Like I said, I think we're getting there. It's just that equality piece that's the huge gap right now. And as long as women continue to push that envelope, we close that gap a little bit more. We go from here and then we close it a little bit more, and then we close it a little bit more because women have refused to say no. And I think that's what it's going to take is women refusing to say um, no, or that it's okay. You know, don't take no for an answer.
That's good. Um, so tell me about, our girl Caitlin Clark got Time Athlete of the
Athlete
Year.
of the year.
What did you think about her commentary? What she said?
Well, I haven't gotten to listen or read it all yet, but according to social media, there's a very mixed reaction,
Mhm.
as is everything. You know, you can people either love her or hate her, or they love to hate her. You know, it's one of those things that she's grown the game. Like you cannot deny
You
that she.
cannot deny her impact of the game. But
Yeah,
tell me this: Why did it take? Why did it take Caitlin? Why wasn't it Kelsey Plum? Why wasn't it Diana Taurasi?
I think there's a mixture. Media became a little bit more prevalent. Social media was, There were more social media platforms that, built up. I mean, when Kelsey was coming up, you could probably count on one hand social media platforms, and now like there's a
Mm.
bazillion social media platforms, and so the information is a little bit more readily available. You have more women that are jumping into the journalism, side of things, in the sports world that you know push that narrative out there, and so again, you can never forget the women that came before her. Like,
Oh my
she would
God.
not be in the
That's what
position that
pissed
she is.
me off the most. I was like, are y'all kidding me? Y'all have missed out on so many great players in the past. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
even funny.
yeah.
The WNBA has always been good to me
Oh
from
yeah,
day
it's
one.
like I would much rather watch
From
the
day
W
one,
than I would
the NBA.
the NBA. It's
Yeah,
just
me
it's
too.
better, in my opinion.
It's better
It's
basketball.
better basketball. And I think that people just like to hate. I
I
mean,
think
they
people
they
just
like
love.
controversy. They like to
Yes.
hate. They like to stir the pot.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why I haven't been able to really grow my podcast because I don't do anything controversy, and I don't,
yeah.
I'm not Stephen A. I'm not what's the guy TJ Moe, and I'm not what's the other guy I can't stand. Um, I can't think of his name, but I can't stand
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and
And uh, and I just don't do that. I don't trash people on my show. I don't talk about anything. I try to keep political stuff off. So I'll just enjoy it for me to a couple people on or whatever. But I'm not doing it. That's not who I want to be and how I want to show up to the world. I want to be able to bring on people like you that are making a difference, especially in women and girls sports, and helping us to build this thing and helping us to put these girls out there like that, and give them the press that they deserve to get, that they're not going to get anywhere else. Because if you're not, Tanya, if you're not doing it, who's going to do it for them? Because there's no one else doing it.
I said, back to Caitlin. Um, I think men are mad that she's grown the game.
That she's grown the game.
Like
Yeah.
I think they resent her
Because
because women's basketball, in some
well, became
regards,
a thing.
yeah. I think they just want to hate on her and resent her because it's not just their space anymore. And so
Mm.
they've got to lay blame on somebody, and so she's the one that's currently front and center, and so if it wasn't her, it was going to be somebody else. And I think she has taken a lot of it in stride. I don't know, you know,
I
if she was my daughter, or if she's taken it a lot better than I think a lot of people would, and you know, she was the right person for the job, I guess.
And maybe that was it. She was the right person for the job. I don't, maybe other people just couldn't handle that level of notoriety that she was able to put out there and bring to it. Um, I when I read wait till you read it. When I read the article, I already was a Caitlyn fan, but the article took me to a whole nother level with her.
See, I've
Like
been
you
an
can't.
Indiana Fever fan forever, and so I've I like I've had Hard Knocks. So when they drafted Boston, I was like, yes.
Yes.
And then we got Caitlin. I was like, yes.
Yes.
But she's hard to hate. Like if you truly enjoy the game, take all the noise out. If you truly enjoy the game of basketball, she's hard to hate. Like
She's hard to hate.
she
Yeah,
brings a level of excitement to the game that, I
she
think we
does.
needed.
Yeah, I agree. There's some things that I really need her to fix about her game,
She does. And I
but
think that's just immaturity, and she'll
right.
learn.
Yeah,
And I think we saw some of those things improve over the course of the season.
I think so
Um
too. I think so
uh,
too. Because
you know.
I thought in college, I thought her attitude was horrible. I didn't like, even in the beginning, I didn't like how she treated some of her teammates with if they would miss a basket. And yeah, I just like, oh, come on,
Yeah.
girl, you ain't. I'll use my husband's word. Girl, you're not walking on water. You're not doing everything perfectly either. So, um, uh, so they got a new coach, right?
Mhm.
The coach that came from Connecticut.
Yes.
Okay,
So that'll be interesting.
that'll be interesting. Just how that relationship evolves,
Yeah.
and again, I hope that they're a top 2, 3 team in the league next year, because if they are, then there's going to be a whole lot of eyes on
I
women's
just want to make the
basketball.
playoffs again.
Yeah, yeah. There'll be a lot of eyes on women's basketball, and we almost kind of need them to make the championship game in the playoffs, just because of the level of all the number of eyes and the notoriety that came with that. And I hope that. I mean, I do. I hope that. My daughter's in Chicago, so of course I went to a Chicago game, and I love Cardosa, and I love Angel as well. Um, but my team has always been. I'm a Lakers fan, so I've always been a Sparks fan too. So those are my team.
So next year it's going to be, I mean, the team that's going to be the next hot team is going to be the Dallas Wings.
Because of Paige.
Paige
Mhm.
Beckers,
And I love Paige.
Paige and
Paige,
Enrique.
I want Paige on my podcast so bad I don't know what to do.
I can't help you there.
I know you can't, but I'm just saying I don't, and I haven't reached out, so that's my fault. But I'm not gonna do it during the season. But after the season, I definitely, well, I don't know if I'll even do it then. I don't know when's a good time, because as soon as women's college is over, they go right into
It's,
WNBA.
and that's the
Um,
craziest thing ever.
yeah, so that you don't get a break. Um, but my husband made a point. He said that he felt like that's the best thing to happen, because we were still on a high with watching Caitlin in college, and she went right into the
That's true.
pros.
Yeah.
Whereas I forgot, I think he talked about maybe soccer or something. It was somebody else that they were good, but then there was a break, like a 6-month break, and then their league didn't start. The pro league didn't start until I think the fall or something like that. So then you kind of forgot about them.
Yeah. Lost some interest.
Yeah, and the interest was lost. Whereas they were able to take that momentum from the NCAA right into the WNBA, and I think that helped out a whole lot. Um, so yeah, so what do you think about the new leagues? Girl, we've been over here an hour. I didn't even know we was talking that long.
Oh, I love the Unrivaled. Like I have somebody that's kind of doing some coverage, not like on site, but has written some bios on all the players, and I mean that's going to be fun. It's 30 players, kind of the best of the best, and like you really kind of get to see them, you know, kind of unfiltered in Miami, and it gives them an opportunity not to have to play overseas. I was talking to Ron Howard's mom over Thanksgiving break, and she said, she just it's awesome that she gets to stay stateside
Okay.
and play and not have to go overseas. And she said it's just going overseas is hard. Like some players really love it, and some players just
It's a
they
struggle
they
because it's
dread
a
it.
culture
Um,
shock, and if you don't know the language. I mean, I
yeah,
lived in Germany for 4 years, and it was like, whew, it was
yeah.
different.
So I'm excited. I think they're like less than 40 days out, and so I mean, I think they're really trying to do things the right way for this league and take care of the players and that kind of thing. So I'm excited to kind of see it. The tickets went super fast, so I mean they sold out in like 30 minutes. I think both times.
Really?
Yeah, that they did pre-sales because I hopped on there to see if I could
Let's see
just get some.
how much for
Um,
tickets?
and I don't remember what they were because I couldn't even
You
access.
couldn't even ask.
Um,
Oh my
no,
God.
but they've also done it right too because they don't have a massive arena. Like it's a very intimate setting.
Oh yeah.
Um, so
Kind of like where have you been to the Chicago arena where they play?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's small.
kind of like
It's
that.
small. It's smaller than that.
Or smaller than that. Oh wow.
It's kind of
Okay.
like what's the league in Atlanta that the kids can go to before
Oh
college?
yeah, I know what you're
You
talking
know what
about.
I'm
Yes.
talking about?
So
It's
it's like
slipped
that.
my
So
mind,
a
but
little
it's
bit
kind of
bigger than
like
a high school.
yeah, it's kind of like that. So it's I
Okay.
mean, it's just very small and intimate, and it's I get it because then it's like you want it, but you can't really get it, so it's like more advantageous. You want to,
So where are tickets available? Because I'm assuming a lot of people probably bought tickets so that they can resell them. So
I
will
would.
those show up on like the Game Time app or StubHub or anything?
I'm not sure because I signed up for their newsletter like when it very first started, and so I just got a link in my inbox. I didn't even look to see where the
Okay.
tickets were, if it was just
Okay.
their own online site or whatever. But I'm sure I haven't even looked on StubHub. I'm gonna have to do that when we get off here to see if they're on there, just to see what they're going for.
I want to know right now.
They're probably
I want to know right
outrageous.
now. I'm gonna go. Let me see.
Are you gonna
Ticketmaster.
check it out?
Yeah. Okay, but there's two leagues. One is a 5-on-5, and the other one is 3-on-3. So the unrivaled is a 3-on-3. Which one is the 5-on-5?
That AU Sports in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 5-on-5, and I think they start January or February, maybe. But they run
January.
for, I think they run 8 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, nothing's coming up on Ticketmaster.
Oh, they're on the
What's the
down
name
low
of a team?
market.
Maybe I'll just put unrivaled in there. What is one of the teams?
The Roses,
Where are they out of?
they're all out of Miami.
They're all out of Miami.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking on that too. The Mist, the Lunar Owls, the Rose Vinyl, like their logos and stuff are cool.
Yeah. Oh, I like
Oh
it.
yeah, here we go. $750.
I know you lying.
Now you want to see the screen? VIP row A, $5,000.
I
Ticketmaster.
know.
They're on Ticketmaster.
I know you lying.
They're on Ticketmaster.
Okay, so I'm about to do. You're going to do a game on Game Time at the last second when somebody's dumping them at the last second, and
Oh,
then
here's
see.
some for 145.
Okay, but if it's at a small arena, that means the tickets aren't bad. It's probably like being in a Memorial.
I mean, it's smaller than Memorial.
So then those tickets aren't bad then.
Oh
There's no
no,
bad seats.
I
There's no
mean,
bad seats.
there are like 2 rows on one side, and then like 5 rows on each end zone, and then like 10 or 12 rows on one side. I mean, it's very, very intimate. So the scarcity of the tickets is why they're so
That's
expensive.
why they're so expensive. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
And they're in Miami, so
And they're in Miami. I mean, sheesh. Well, I'm excited about that. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up because I did not realize. I took my glasses off, so I didn't realize what time it was. So is there anything? This is my signature question that I ask everybody. Is there anything publicly that you've ever wanted to say that you've never had an opportunity or the platform to say?
I say a lot of things. Just that people that haven't given women's sports a chance, give them a chance, because one, it's exciting. Two, I promise you that it'll grow on you. And three, women's basketball goals do not need to be lowered in order for the game to be exciting.
Hey, Watkins just threw one down this the other
Yes, she
day.
did. Like threw it down, waited on the girl so she could dunk on her. Yes.
Yes.
No,
Very
I
exciting.
just, people that are like, oh, it's a girl sport.
It's boring. Yeah.
It's
It's
exciting.
fun. It's
It's
exciting
fun.
to watch.
So
It's
just
exciting to watch. I think that's my thing with like Angel and Cardoza. I wish someone would put them on a program so that they can dunk. Because they're taught. I'm 5'9", and when I played ball, I could grab the bottom of the rim because I could jump out the gym. So if y'all are 6'3", 6'4", there's no reason why y'all shouldn't be able to throw it down.
well, and I think too, I had a conversation with somebody not too long ago about that. Like guys train to do that.
That's what I'm saying. You got to
Like
specifically train to be able
girls
to do
girls
that.
don't train to do that.
Train to be able to dunk.
They train to play basketball the right way. But yeah, it's exciting. That's
But
just
I'm just
that's my
saying,
thing.
if I'm 6'3", I'm 6'4", I'm anything over 6 foot. I'm training so that I can dunk.
Oh yeah. And I think more are. And I think the commentators the other night, they made that comment too, that they feel like there are more female athletes that are, training themselves to do that.
I mean, Caitlin trained herself to shoot from the logo.
Yeah.
She trained her, and now because of Caitlin, more girls are now going to come out farther because everybody wants to shoot from the logo.
Yeah.
Because she did it first. I think she set a new precedent, and I love it.
Yeah. I'm excited for WNBA season. It's coming fast and furious. It's going to be here super soon, and I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm
March.
excited
It'll
about
be
it.
here in March.
It'll be here in March, and I was trying to figure, so we have to figure out which Fever game we're going to.
All right, I'm down.
Probably, or Chicago game. And I go visit my daughter, or Chicago game. One of them. We're
Or
going.
we can go to Atlanta and watch. We can go to Atlanta and watch Ryan.
Or we can go to Atlanta and
I
watch
already
Ryan.
told I already told RJ and Nishima I was coming. So
Okay, we can go to we can go to Atlanta and watch Ryan. I'm good with that too. Either way. So listen, thank you so much for coming on my show. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you're doing for women's sports. That was the reason why I wanted you on here, because I just wanted to just chat it up with you. And there's not a lot of women that I could talk to about sports. And know what they're talking about, especially with basketball and football for that matter. But thank you for being in this space. I think it's something that I think you hit it dead on the nose. I think it's if people just give it a chance and just sit and watch it, and it doesn't matter which sport it is. It's good. It's fun watching. I don't know how people didn't, Venus and Serena made watching tennis fun. But golly, there's some new ones that are coming up right now that are just as fun to watch. I love Naomi and I love Coco, and there's a couple other ones that are just fun to watch. Soccer, Dennis Rodman's is it Alexis?
yes,
She's a beast. But there's a whole bunch of other ones that are really, really good as well.
yeah.
I love watching gymnastics. I think last year was fun because of the Olympics, because people got to see different sports that you don't normally get to see. You got to see more swimming competitively, because we have a friend, Rachel, that's from here, that's a world-class swimmer, and we love being able to watch the swimming and some of the other sports. Even the girl here with is it rifle, where she won the gold in
Oh yeah.
rifle shooting. Like we can't underestimate the non-revenue sports and the opportunities that those bring for girls to be able to get a free education on the next level. And I think that that's the space that I really, really want to hone in on. And, when you're out and you're taking pictures and you're doing what you do, and you see these girls, send them my way. I would love to interview. If you see someone that needs to be interviewed, I would love to have them on and feature them, and to get their story. I'm like you. I love the stories. I love the story, especially if they're an elite athlete. I love the stories. I think in the next couple of weeks we're going to start a series. I'm getting ready to bring on our Lexington African American Sports Hall of Famers are getting ready to kind of highlight the next couple of weeks because we're getting ready to start the 2025 and we're getting ready to start doing another induction here pretty soon. Every year and every year it's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun highlighting athletes that have never had the opportunity to be highlighted. And I love the platform that you're on because now you give them a voice and you give them a platform with your Rise Up Sports magazine. So where do we get the magazine, ma'am? Where can we get the magazine?
So if you go to www.riseupsportsmedia.com, everything is there. Our store is there. Our blog is there. Our magazine is there. You can look at athlete profiles there. It's all right there.
Good stuff.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Everything is right there. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. I'm gonna go on and order my hard copy because I definitely want to see all the girls that are here local. My niece is at Lafayette, so if you ever meet Jayla Bryant, she's a freshman at Lafayette High School, and she's a baller.
Okay.
Steal me a couple of pictures and send them to me if you get that opportunity.
I got you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. Don't log off, but
hey.
but y'all, we done with our conversation. We just let y'all just kind of hang in and tap into our conversation today. Thank you so much, Tonia, for coming on, and don't log off. Bye, y'all. We'll see y'all.